I would save, maybe 25 to 50% of my income a month. But then the months that follow, I would use all of that to spend my, pay down debt and all of that.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Tolusnotes. On this podcast, we'll explore how young adults invest their time and their money. Today, we'll be chatting with Jerone Gillespie, an investor and YouTuber who recently appeared on CNBC's Millenial Money. We cover everything from overcoming adversity, his love for doing taxes, and all his side hustles. I hope you enjoy this episode. Jerome, how's it going, man?
It's going well. How's it going?
I'm good. So basically, like I eat you up. Basically, I write this newsletter for medium to like advanced investors, and one of the recurring, I guess, criticism or like complaints that I get is like it's not beginner friendly, and something else I get is like people are always going, they don't have enough income, so they can't really like invest their money yet, but it's like their actions don't actually like reflect that perspective. It's like they make money for things they want to spend, right? And
Yeah.
when it comes to like investing, it's kind of like a second class citizen. So when I saw your video and I just saw like, it just blew my mind, and I posted you on my Instagram, like, y'all gotta watch this. And right after that, I'm like, you know what? I'm already starting this podcast. Let me just hit him up and see if you're down to like answer some of those questions.
Oh, yeah, I'm definitely down to answer some of those questions. I had to turn my phone down a little bit because it kept ringing, but yeah, no, I'm down. Yeah.
All
So
right,
whatever questions we have, I'm ready to
let's get
answer.
into it. Yeah, I want it to be more of like a conversation.
Oh
So
yeah, questions are conversations. I prefer conversation anyway. So
definitely. So I watched the entire YouTube videos. For those listening that haven't seen the video yet, it was basically it's one of those CNBC Make It videos. Let me click on the link here right in front of me. Yeah, so it's one of those CNBC Make It video, but like what caught my attention was like 25K a year in Baltimore. And one of the, as soon as I saw that, like I was talking to a friend and they're like, oh, but we're in California, like the standards of living. But I'm like, it's not that different, right? Like I did like a salary comparison using NerdWallet, the personal finance site. And I used to work there, by the way. And like 25K in Baltimore is actually like 32K in Los Angeles. So it's still like the dollar value is still pretty low, but like you were able to just accomplish so much with all that. So if you don't mind, like kind of giving us like a background or something.
All right. Yeah. So in the video, the CNBC video, I mean, they did a great job. They really did a phenomenal job. I think the article that they wrote actually goes in more detail. Some of the things they left out in the video just for the sake of time, and that I have a tendency to hop around when I'm talking. But so in that video, they did leave some things out, but some things that were important, for the most part, they left in. Like, for example, in 2018, actually 2017 is when I first moved in with my brother, right?
Yeah.
Now I moved in with my brother, his girlfriend's sister, and one of our childhood friends. So they were all got an apartment, well before I decided to move to, switch colleges to Towson, right? I was going to one college and then I decided to go to another college because I was really far away from my family and I was up in the mountains in a cold area. So I just wanted to get back to a little bit closer to my girlfriend at the time. And also my brother, the rest of my family and all of that. And let's be honest, the girlfriend had a big factor in that. But, never do it. Never move for a girlfriend. Anyway, so basically what happened was that for me was an opportunity because they had no other space for me.
Okay.
But they wanted my brother at least wanted me to move down. He was the one who convinced me to move down. Him and my girlfriend, but then she turned out she didn't want me to be there. But anyway, so my actual brother was the main one who like tried to talk me to come down. So I moved in. They were okay with it. And then the rules were I had to pay for the internet bill and for the electric bill.
Okay.
So that means it was kind of a mutually beneficial thing. The only bad thing was I was in the living room. So I was kind of like in the way a little bit, but I tried to stay out the way as much as I could, just out of respect. But so that was that allowed me to save up my first $20,000. Now I was in college during this time period, and I would just save every single dollar that I could. I was working maybe about 30 hours a week, to 20 to 30 hours a week while I was in college.
Wow.
And that allowed me to save my money. But once I moved into my own apartment, I was still saving money. I just wasn't saving as much money, but I was using the money that I had to really pay down debt. That was the main thing I was doing.
Interesting. Okay.
So I would save, maybe 25 to 50% of my income a month, but then the months that follow, I would use all of that to spend my, paying down debt and all of that.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times, my expenses were actually higher. So you could say that I wasn't saving, as in the video said, $10,000 a year.
Yeah.
But I was saving $10,000, and then I would use that $10,000 to pay down debt. So it's kind of,
yeah. But net, you were still like coming out ahead net wise.
Yeah, net.
Because you were paying it off. Okay. So, but something I noticed was like, you got kicked out and then you were kind of sleeping in your car. And like, I was like, whoa, that's rough. But then you had a really positive mindset about it. Like in the video, you're like, yeah, I was sleeping in my car. And then you just turned around and you said, hey, but I was able to save all that money. But I was like, you always seem to like just find like the positive like spin.
To me, the sleeping in the car thing, I wasn't thinking about it as being a positive thing. I was looking at all of my alternatives. Now, this is something that I didn't necessarily throw in the video. I mean, I might have said it to them, but they edited it out if I did say it, but I don't remember anyway. So one thing I was thinking is like all of my alternatives. So one alternative is I could have lived with my mom and which that was an hour away.
Yeah.
And I would have had to travel an hour in the morning to get to class. And then after that, I would have to go to work. And then at 9 or 10 o'clock, I would have to drive an hour back home and then do that 5 times a week. I don't know if that sounds appealing to you, but it didn't. Yeah. And then also I didn't really have the money to be driving that much because I wasn't making that much money. A lot of my money was going to books and I wanted to save that money. So, and also another huge factor, and that was like a small factor, but another huge factor is my mom lived with my sister and my sister lived with her husband at the time. And me and him almost got into a very sticky situation where we were about to get into a combat situation. But it wasn't because of me and him. It was because him and something with my sister and him doing some damage to my mom's house and all of that. So
sure.
It was more like I was just trying to be the protector.
Yeah.
And so, but I just didn't want to deal with that stress while I'm working and going to school. And so I was the type of person who I like to get straight A's. I got straight A's twice 2 different semesters while I was in college. So I always had that mindset, like if I could do it once, I could do it again. But working 30 hours a week or 25, somewhere in that range, while trying to get straight A's is not very likely. It's possible, but you would have to be a different type of person than I am. But so, and then the other option I had, not to ramble on, but the other option I had was to live with my dad. He lived, slightly under 2 hours away. So like an hour and 45 minutes away. And that once again would be very costly to do that 5 times a week. And then at the same time, I don't want to live with my dad. He's a great guy. I love him. I care about him. He's been in my life, but he's very controlling. And I'm not, I'm not very good with authority. He's not very good at, people who are not willing to bend to his authority, if they're living with him at least. So I just knew that wouldn't have worked out very well. And then also his girlfriend, I just know that she probably wouldn't have one there. I wouldn't feel comfortable there. So I would have felt the most comfortable in my car. And I knew it wasn't going to last very long. It was only going to last 2 to 3 weeks, somewhere in that range. So like, about a little under a month. So I figured it would be okay. And then also when I was doing it, it felt so free. It's weird to say. It just felt like such a freeing experience. So for me, I'm saving money.
Can you dive into that like a little bit? Like, what do you mean by just you had all those options, which weren't really like the things that you wanted to do specifically, but like the choice you ended up making while it wasn't like the most comfortable, you said it like it felt free. Can you like dive into that a little bit?
Yeah. So when I say it felt free, I mean like first off, like it's kind of like I'm in my car, and first off, I own my car, so it's not like I'm living in someone else's property or anything. I
Mhm.
own my car. I can travel where I want. I have mobility, so it's not like I'm stuck somewhere. I have. I'm sleeping. If I'm sleeping in my car, I'm not paying someone else rent, so that's money that I'm saving. So all of the money I make, I know is gonna go straight to whatever I needed, savings, investings, stuff like that. So it felt freeing in that respect. And then also just it's really hard to explain. I don't know. It's kind of like those people who go off the grid. You know what I'm saying? Like it's kind of like that. Just
Yeah.
if you go off the grid for a little bit and you just have that experience. And that's kind of what it was like. It was kind of like going off the grid a little bit. And then also just knowing that when I went to school and seeing all the other students, I know they weren't going through that. I know they
Hmm.
weren't pushing through that. I know they weren't working 20 hours a week, 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
So it kind of just gave you that like mindset, just like I'm willing to make these sacrifices for the long term. And I don't know how much money it actually ended up saving me, but I can assure you that it saved me at least, just doing the math, at least a few $100s, 4 or 5 on the low end, 500,
Yeah.
$600 on the low end. And I mean, that might not sound like a lot, but if you consider the fact that there's been plenty of times where I've invested money and it has doubled, and $500 and I've doubled it, it's just that money has turned out to be a lot of money, in my
Yeah, no, no, I
opinion.
definitely felt it, and it was almost like risk free, right? If you had put that in the market, you were taking some sort of risk. I guess you're still taking some kind of risk, like staying in your car, but like the risk is different uh, from that point of view. Okay. I also wanted to. So I read the YouTube comments on the video, and one of the biggest ones was everyone is like rallying behind you, trying to get you a new job. I don't know if you
Yes,
read the comments,
that
but,
is
but then you also mentioned that you really love doing taxes, right?
yeah.
Yeah. So like, what like, would you look for a new job? Would you like look for a new tax job somewhere else that's like paying higher, or what do you have to say to like all those YouTube comments?
Well, there's a few different things in that respect. One thing is with the tax job, there's a few different reasons why I chose that tax job over the other options I had. Like I had another option that dude was offering. Well, the upward potential that the dude was offering was a significantly higher. He was
Hmm.
offering a percentage of the revenue that I made.
Oh,
It was
interesting.
like, I think it was like somewhere between 40% of the revenue that I generated. So that was a lot more expensive to go out there in the pavement and go work, do that. But that job offered, because you have to do, in Maryland at least, you have to do continued education credits to be a licensed tax preparer.
Oh, okay.
So that job offered those continued education credits completely for free. That was one thing. Also, another thing, it was 4 minutes away from my house. 4 minutes if I'm driving at a normal speed. If I'm late to work, I might be able to get there in 3 minutes
Okay.
or 2.5 minutes. So it was very close to my house. If my car broke down, I could walk there.
Yeah.
So if I lived in that place that was offering a 40% of the revenue that job offer, I would have had to basically live with my dad during the tax season. And we already discussed that, you know what I'm saying? Because that was all the way in Delaware.
Oh, wow.
And so I did get that job offer. And there was probably some other job offers in the area. But I also knew for sure that in this place I could get the managerial experience.
Hmm.
And so I knew I was going to get the managerial experience, and I was going to get the education credits, and then also was going to be very close to my house.
Yeah.
So for me, I was somewhat willing to accept a lower salary because of those reasons there. And because I knew that in the morning, I would like to spend time either working out, making YouTube videos, or reading.
Okay.
And if I don't have to drive 30 minutes to commute, then I could spend more time educating myself, reading, learning things like that.
Okay. Okay. Gotcha.
And
Gotcha.
so there's that. And I don't know if there's something else you asked that I didn't hit
No, I
on.
think I think I think you touched on it. So in something else that I think this last question I had about just the job aspect, you mentioned that you actually made more from Uber and Lyft. So if pandemic aside, would you actually just do that full time uh, to like increase your income?
Oh
Or
yeah, so that's another thing that I was going to mention that I forgot. Um, So one thing that's hopefully the management doesn't hear this, but one thing that was going on is that I was actually talking to my parents, just because, you know, you always go to people who have life experience over you to
Yep.
kind of get an idea for things. That's one thing that I always try to do. And I was just kind of, you know, and also I've been thinking about it to myself, and I really, for multiple reasons, I've been considering leaving that job anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And it's only during the tax season, for the record. I saw that across the comment section that a lot of people are thinking I have 3 jobs. They're kind of Uber and Lyft as one job. Well, you can't do them both at the same time. You know, I mean, you can do them at the same time, but you have to turn one app off to do the other one and all that. So I only have, in effect, 2 jobs, and one of them is during the tax season. So when it came down to the tax job, I've been considering leaving that because, just first off, me and the manager don't get along. It seems like, and I hate to say this because it sounds arrogant, but he seems like he's kind of jealous of me. Like, he's a older Black man himself, and it almost seems as if that he sees the direction or my potential, and he kind of like treats me in a way that is kind of like almost disrespectful because of that. And I don't know if that's really what's going on, but maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of what I get the feeling of. Another thing that I see is that that job, once again, like you said, it is not paying very much money, and I can make more money doing Uber and Lyft. And I would have a better return on investment spending my time researching companies and, you know, looking over stocks, and also just do, like you said, doing Uber and Lyft. Another thing is they don't let you get overtime. So they only pay you 14.5 an hour, and I could ask for a raise, and I will do that if I do go back there. But if I work there and I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry.
I think you were kind of touching on the subject where I guess your manager was kind of getting jealous.
Yeah, I see where you're going. Yeah, so I'm sorry. I've been up a lot. There's been tons of people like coming at me with different things, and I've been trying to be a nice person and like respond, and not respond like I'm just trying to push you off, but respond to you like I'm actually trying to interact with you, like be a genuine, like, are you responding to me? You're saying all these nice things. I want to be responsive to these people and communicate with them and answer some of their questions. So I've been just up long hours responding, and I haven't eaten I've eaten like maybe a small bit today. Like I've been eating twice a day lately. So the video, I was eating once a day for like most of the last like 2.5 years, but I've stopped doing that anyway.
Okay, but, let's move on to like investing, right? In the video, I saw you reading The Intelligent Investor, which has been claimed to be like, I guess, the Bible of investing. I've actually never read that book. I feel like I've read every single other book but that single one. So what's your takeaway from the book?
Takeaway from the book. Well, so that one was I guess the original version, or the classic version as they call it. And then also I've read the more recent version, but I've read that one in Spanish. Perhaps it does decrease the comprehension a little bit. And also it was like an audio book. So when I won the second one, but that one I read, I kind of got in the most important thing that I got out of it. And this is going to seem kind of maybe weird, but the most important thing I got out of it is, if you are going to pick individual stocks, you need to treat it like a business. You know what I'm saying? So back then he was teaching, basically he would call it the defensive strategy, more of a defensive investor. And then like the, you know, I can't remember the exact wording of it, but basically the more, you know, entrepreneurial investor.
Okay.
The one that's actually going out there and like really trying to get high returns, really going out there doing it full time. And basically the strategy that he was trying to talk about with the defensive investor was basically the same one that you might use as an index investor today. Kind of invest across wide ranging stocks and try not to be too risky in your allocation of what you give to stocks versus what you give to bonds and stuff like that. So the main thing I got from that is, in modern times, what he probably would have said is the regular investor probably should just use the index funds or ETFs or whatever that track the market. But if you are going to pick individual stocks, you need to treat it like a business. And what I mean a business, I mean that you have to really put time into it. You don't think you're just gonna pick stocks, half time,
Okay.
do it 10 hours a week, 5 hours a week, or you just heard some YouTuber talk about it, and now you're gonna go out there and buy it, and now you're gonna think you'll be the next Warren Buffett or Peter Lynch. That's how it work. And then also another thing is sometimes people start playing with the derivatives and they make a lot of money with like a stock option or something like that. And this is not what I learned from the Intelligent Investor, but this is kind of going on with that.
Yeah.
You need to spend time with it. But if you're going to spend time, if you're going to buy stock options, for example, you need to spend time learning about what a stock option is. If you can't tell me what a stock option is, then why are you buying it? I've literally had people asking me questions about stock options. They couldn't tell me even remotely what a stock option is, but they made money doing it. That's the problem. They made money doing it. The
Hey,
problem is you can make a lot of money, but you can lose it too.
everyone is a smart investor in the bull market, man. Everyone makes money in the bull market.
Exactly.
Like my question for you. So, do you feel so they're kind of like two schools for like investing, right? They're like the stock pickers and they're obviously like the indexers. Like they believe like it's not even worth it, just index. Don't bother, get the market returns, and that's good enough. So do you feel like the amount of time you spend actually picking stock, do you think it's actually like worth it versus just investing in the S&P 500 or like a value fund or something?
So in my opinion, first off, in my opinion, I want to be open and honest that I don't feel like I personally spend enough time researching my investments. I
Okay.
do have investments that I feel that are almost, I usually try to only buy stocks that I feel are so undervalued that it's almost guaranteed that I'll make money on them.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, I don't spend enough time on it, and that can affect my portfolio return. I wanted to make that clear, for honesty.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But as far as indexing, I think that it's really hard to say because if you have some investor that is kind of not really going to be serious about it, not going to treat it like, all right, well, this is like physics. You need to spend a lot of time learning physics, right? You need to learn you need to spend many hours learning how to do the math related to physics, learning the concepts and all of that.
Okay.
But when it comes down to investing, because it's so easy to buy a stock, people think it's so easy to be a good investor. You know what I'm saying? You can buy and sell a stock if you have like half a brain, but can you be a good investor if you have half a brain? That's the big difference. So for me, I think that it is very important that if you are going to do it, you have to take it serious. It's going to be a full-time job if you are going to try to get better than average market returns. If you're not going to get better than average market returns, then you might as well just do the index investing. So as far as that, I do have, like, for example, my retirement funds, because I was like, all right, so a part of me didn't want to just go full on stock picker.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't want to go full on index because you never know. All right, well, what if, I want to see for myself. I'm not the type of person, oh, well, these people say these one thing, so I'm just going to follow it. I want to see if I can't beat the market, I want to be the one that decides that for myself. I want to be able to see that. Maybe I might miss out on a lot of money because of that, but whatever. But I don't want to just go all in. So what I did was for my retirement savings, all index funds.
Smart.
All index. Well, technically ETFs, but if they behave the same way as index funds, if you treat it like an index fund, you're not buying and selling every single day.
Smart.
So that's how I did that. And then for my non-retirement funds, I just invested. Now I met a dude doing taxes. Actually, he did the same. I didn't know this beforehand, but he did the same strategy and just doing his taxes. I just, just doing some basic math and looking at the numbers. He was a multimillionaire. I mean, he had over $3 million in assets, and that's not even including, I mean, some people don't want to include the home, but like, and including his home, he would probably on top of that already very wealthy because his houses in my area are very expensive.
And what was his strategy? Did you say he was
the same thing, kind of index funds for retirement funds, and then his personal accounts, he would just invest in stocks.
Was the bulk of his wealth in the index funds or in the individual stuff?
I can't remember, honestly.
You can't remember?
I do remember that. I do remember that he had a lot in both. He had over $1 million in both.
Gotcha.
So,
Gotcha.
So I just figured, like, even if you see, that's the thing that I always kind of say, like, finance to me is kind of like a art and a science, like a sci art, because it's, you can build, even if you don't beat the market, but you're picking individual stocks. Maybe you like picking individual stocks. So let's say you're getting 7% returns, the market is averaging 8%.
Okay.
You're not beating the market, but you're enjoying what you're doing, and you're still getting wealthy while doing it. You're still getting wealthy while doing it. So you might not get as wealthy, but you can still become very, very wealthy even doing it that way. So if you follow sound investment principles, you're probably not going to lose money, at least over the long term, at least.
Oh, okay.
So you might underperform. But another thing I want to touch on, just kind of what you said, is I think that a lot of the times on Wall Street, the ones that basically he was making that bet against Warren Buffett, from my understanding, what I've heard is like the average holding period for a stock is like less than a day on Wall Street. So it doesn't surprise me that they're not beating the market. You know, that bet didn't work out. I mean, if you're holding, your average holding period is a day, then you're basically gambling, or at the bare minimum, you're doing that high frequency trading. And I don't think most people are going to beat the market doing that. So, and also a lot of the times these large companies, large like investment firms, they invest mostly in the S&P 500 companies. Well, as a small investor, you can invest in these smaller, more obscure companies that are not in the S&P 500.
If you really like have some kind of conviction.
Yeah, if you have conviction of reading through those companies, those smaller stocks, and trying to find those undervalued ones.
It's funny because I have a couple of friends who they were like totally on that Tesla train way before, right? And it almost seems like Tesla. I'm like, you know what? Elon can tweet anything at any moment now, and the stock just comes like crashing down. I don't know if I can trust that, right? But they kind of stuck to it, and like it obviously like paid out for them. So I think there's some value in like just sticking with it, because that wouldn't have been an easy individual stock to stick with. But like I feel like at the end of the day, if they were able to just kind of ride it through and just keep investing in it, they were gonna come out on top regardless. So cool. Yeah, thanks for talking about that. Like, let's talk about your YouTube business, right? You started like a YouTube channel. Is it new, or have you actually had it for a while now?
Yeah, I've had it for a while. I'm terrible at YouTube. Yeah, I've had it for probably, I can tell you exactly how long I've had it. I dropped my first video December 6th, 2017.
Wow.
When I first started my YouTube channel, I was all over the place. I was talking about past relationships I had. I was talking about just philosophizing. I was talking a little bit about politics. The reason why I created my YouTube channel is because I just like talking about different things.
Yeah.
Right. And it just so happened. But what I found is the thing that I like talking about the most is money. So I just said I needed to niche down a little bit and just talk about money. If I want to create some podcast later on in life, or create something like that where I just can talk about different things,
yeah,
I can do that. But right about now, let's niche down and talk about the subject that I want to talk about most. The reason why I chose money is because I really like talking about it, and it seemed like everyone else around me didn't like talking about it nearly as much as I like talking about it. So I just decided to create a video channel and just talking about it. And also it seemed like, based off my life in general, since I was in elementary school, it seemed like I was better at at least managing money, in the sense of accumulating it. I mean, obviously acquiring it, in other words, making the money is obviously not very good. $25,000, right?
Yeah.
That's not very good. But as far as once you get it, how you manage it once you get it, I seemed like I was better than the average person. So I figured, even if I only know 2 things, I can teach the person who knows 0 things 1 thing or 2 things. And while I'm teaching that person 2 things, I can go off and learn 3 more things. Now I know 5 things, that person knows 2 things. I can teach that person those things. And as I grow, they can grow with me. And then also I just figured I like talking about money. So even if I don't know anything about money, I'm going to talk about it because I like talking about it. So people always say,
really wise. That's really wise. That was a wise statement right there.
Thank you.
That's pretty cool. And I think it's also really important. So there's this saying that I see nowadays, like everyone should be a YouTuber. And I think what people are trying to get at is just basically, I'm like an online presence and just having some kind of like online brand. I don't know where I heard this, but like back before the internet, like if you had something you wanted to tell people about, you go to door, like in your town, you let people know. That's the best way you can let people know. If you get lucky, those people tell people in other towns when they do travels. But nowadays with YouTube, Twitter, or whatever, you can literally just post a tweet and you can reach everyone in the world just like that,
Yep.
instantly. And that just kind of changes the landscape for business, for like everything you're trying to do.
Yeah, I agree 100%. I look at that like social capital, you know what I'm saying? There's different types of capital, and the social capital, and I think that I myself and other people always undervalue that social capital. And that's one thing I realized with this, the YouTube thing. Just earlier this year, for example, it really hit me earlier this year, because one of the very, very big YouTubers like helped me out. They put one of my affiliate links in one of their videos.
Wow.
And I'll give y'all his name, ClearValue Tax. Please go check him out. He has a great YouTube
I
channel.
heard of him. I haven't really spent a lot of time on his channel, but I've heard of him. Yeah.
Yeah, I followed him earlier this year because I just wanted to learn more about taxes. He had 1,000 subscribers. Right now he has like 200K shy of a million.
All in 1 year.
In 1 year.
Whoa.
Earlier this year, he had 1,000 subscribers.
Whoa.
And that's when I found him. And then out of nowhere, now he's at 800,000 last I looked, or like almost 900,000.
Wow.
So his channel blew up. And the pandemic, as bad as it sounds, actually helped him out with that.
How did you guys get connected?
Well, I was at his channel when he was small. So I was only one of the few people commenting on his videos. And also I go around commenting on videos all the time. So I just was commenting on his video. And after I would watch one of his videos, and he had great content. And also he spoke Spanish and I speak Spanish. So I was just like, all right, well, he's cool. He does taxes. He speaks Spanish. This is my guy. So I was just an early adopter, so to speak. So even when he got bigger, he still saw, oh, that's Black Vito moneyology. And, you know, one of the first things he asked me is, what does moneyology mean? And then I told him what I meant by it. And then he was like, oh, okay. So then now he always like, hey, Black Vito moneyology is so yeah, once he put his link into his description, and then literally the next day, I just started making hundreds of dollars off of the affiliate link. Nice. I was just like, oh, so this is what social capital can get you. This is what like having a big audience can get you.
Yeah.
Just ability, and not only just because he did that for me, he didn't have to do that. So you can do that for other people. And so I want to be able to do that for other people. You know what I'm saying?
Definitely. I think that's part of why I'm starting this podcast. First, the newsletter that I have is growing, and my subscribers just keep saying newsletter. I mean, podcast. They want to like be able to like listen to it on their drives and whatnot. So my perspective on starting this was just, okay, there's an almost infinite number of like individually unique just people out there that are really smart. Like if I was to interview people for like my entire life, we're not going to get over like every single person that has something that everyone can learn something from, right? So that was like one of my motivations for starting this. It's just like, there's a network, right? Now I'm interviewing you, you know, ClearValue Tax, he knows maybe Graham, and like things just the network just kind of goes on and on and on and like that. So I think that was pretty amazing that he did that. That's pretty nice. Yeah.
I was very surprised that he did it, but yeah, that is true. I mean, I think that with the podcast thing, first off, podcasts are really like popular right now. So if you're whoever like that subscribes to your newsletter want a podcast, then that's an easy way right in there. And then if eventually you want to go throw it on YouTube, you can do that. I mean, I personally think that you should.
Just do it on YouTube?
Yeah, because I mean, it's just worst thing that can happen is no one watches it.
Yeah.
That's literally the worst scenario is no one will watch your video. But it seems like you're the type of person that I don't know much about you, but the fact that you even created a newsletter in the first place seems like you're probably more motivated than the average person who just wants to go to work, come back home, and play video games. So I feel like because of that, you know, you'll probably be motivated to go make something of that.
Now, if you don't, thanks, man. Thank you.
No problem.
So there was something else I wanted to get into. You mentioned that you wanted to get into software engineering. Now, my day job, I'm a software engineer in San Francisco. So when I saw that, I got really like, oh, that kind of also piqued my interest. I was like, okay, like, what do you see in software engineering that you want to get? I know like the pay is high right now, and a lot of people kind of flock to that, to the field just because of the pay. But then a lot of people figure out like, okay, this is actually not what I wanted. So what is it about software engineering that you think you like?
So there's a few different things about that. The pay is one of them, but I would not, I will, as you can see from I would not work a job that I hate for money. I feel like right about now, like I've said in the video, and I'm not just saying this because it sounds cute, it sounds pretty, but I literally feel as though my life is complete as it is. I have everything. I have family and friends that I like and I care about. And I have more money than I make enough money to cover my expenses and still have money left over. I get to save money. So I really have most of what I want in life, except for maybe, like I said in the video, financial freedom. And the only reason I want financial freedom is to guarantee I don't have to work some job that I hate ever again.
Yep.
And so for me, I feel like to work a job just for money doesn't. So a lot of people are hitting me, oh, well, why don't you be a nurse? Because I don't want to be a nurse. You know what I'm saying? Why don't you do this? Why don't you do that? Because I don't want to do that. Why don't you go join the military? You want me to go join the military just for the money? I just don't feel like, I don't know, that doesn't seem like the right reason for me. So and I'm not criticizing anyone who does that. I mean, I'm just saying that for me, I don't feel I need to do that. So for me, software engineering, because I'm really into science, let's put it like this. I have three main interests, these three things: science, language, and like money, business related stuff. And I obviously, most people know me for, at least on social media and stuff, know me for my interest in money related things, but I'm just as interested in science and language as I am money related things. I just don't talk about those things because I had to niche down. So, and also in life in general, I had to narrow my focus. So so I can actually start doing something with my life, so to speak. So I wanted to do something that incorporated something kind of scientific in nature. And I would figure AI is going to take over the world. So why don't I just help it take over the world? Maybe when the robots come, they will have me as like, one of the ones that are high on the totem pole of the enslaved humans.
That's funny, but it's actually happening. Yeah, it's actually happening, and it's true. Just being in the industry, I kind of see how all the switch between, it's. Have you read Homo Deus by? Let me just send you that book. It's called Homo Deus, and it just kind of goes over the next evolution of like human beings. Yeah, by Yuval Noah Harari. I'm gonna send you the link right after this. But that book just kind of goes over how the next thing we need to be worried about, just as humanity, is definitely the new sort of like, it talks about a lot of things, but this was one of the points, the new class struggles that's going to come out of the humans that are able to like, they're able to like bioengineer themselves versus those that can't, right? If you're rich and you have a baby and you can just pay sort of like a scientist to like modify that baby to be the smartest baby, so it has an edge in like in classrooms, to just have like a insane IQ, to have like insane physics, so they can compete and like be a beast in any sport they play. And that kind of sounds really sci-fi, but that's, some of those are happening right now, and it's only getting more and more profound, right?
No, I don't think that sounds sci-fi at all. I mean, it's sort of like one of the things, they didn't say this in the video, the way that they made my college experience, they had to narrow it down, but my college experience was not as simplified as they made it seem. But like one of the things I was studying was biology when I was in college. And one of the things they talk about when you're studying biology is CRISPR. the gene. Have you heard of CRISPR?
Yeah.
Yeah, the gene editing tool. So now this CRISPR is able to edit genes, and they might be able to just do it with a goat right now, or like some small single cell organism. But how long do you think it's before that people actually start doing that a lot? I mean, China might already be doing it. I mean, but I'm just saying, like, it's so this. I mean, those things are right around the corner, and I figured, first off, AI honestly is just interesting to me. Just the concept behind it is really interesting to me. So for me, if I wanted to get into software engineering, that would be one of the reasons. Another reason why is I feel like software engineering is a way that you can create something that can work for you instead of hiring employees. So if I get good at, I literally have no desire to work for another human being ever again in my life. And, despite the low income related to Uber and Lyft, the joy that I get from not working for someone else almost outweighs some of the negative aspects. And also, if I just work more hours, then I can end up making in profit maybe $1,000 a week if I work enough hours. And I can just listen to audiobooks and podcasts while I'm driving, and it will seem like I'm just having a good old time, especially if I'm making money. But, for me, I just feel like the software engineering will be a way that I could, even maybe work remotely if I am working for another company, and then still kind of get the feeling that I'm working by myself, because I don't have a boss hanging over my shoulder. Hey, you didn't put the reports in on Tuesday, and I don't know what you're going to do about that. I just don't want to have someone over my shoulder, and it's just.
Yeah, software is really not like that, but I feel like there might be some companies like that though. Wow, this has been great. Really enjoyed having you on the show, man. Do you have anything else that you want to ask about, or
what are your plans? We talked a lot about
plans? My plans. What's the timeline like?
Let's give it within the next 5 years. It's something simple.
Definitely within the next 5 years. The startup that I'm currently working for better IPO by then. That's just a hope. I can't obviously name the name on the podcast. If you want to look it up, you can go look up my LinkedIn. So the hope is like the IPO by then. 5 years. I also want to. I need all my side income revenue to be able to cover all my expenses in 5 years, all of it. So this is something I've noticed. A lot of people, when they think about finance and wealth, they focus on the net worth number, like the big number. That's important, but that really just feeds your ego. That net worth number just feeds your ego. So what I usually tell people is like, just forget about the net worth number and just focus on the growth rate of that net worth. So how much money do you have coming in? How much money do you have going out? So from my perspective, if I can get like all my avenues, like all my side income, because I own like a rental property, and I just have I have all this little different, meaning like side income sources, including like some short-term investment stuff. I talk about like a meme account in my newsletter all the time, and that's where like you just do experimental stuff. So if I can just get all that income to pay for rent, at least it's getting close to just pay for rent, and then focus on other things, I feel like that just kind of really opens the world like a lot. I don't want to be one of those people just really pushing side income, because there's value in also working for other people. So working for other people can also be like really valuable, because you're learning, you're meeting people. I think the most important part is actually just meeting people, because I have met some of the most smartest people, and they've gone on to like start their own companies. I even started my own company straight out of college, which failed. And then it was like, okay, let's go into the industry. Let's gather more skills and see what we want to do with that. So definitely in 5 years, I felt like I rambled on that one, but like 5 years, we just be having the side income cover my expenses.
Yeah, that is awesome. And I definitely agree with you on that, to where as though, and when people say that if you're working for someone else, then you're just wasting away your life. Or I definitely do believe that you should always have another source of income. If it's another job, I mean, that is better. I mean, that's better than nothing. But ideally, have something your own business on the side, something that is your own, and also you get more tax deductions that way as well from the fact.
Yeah.
So, yeah, just have that side business of some sort on the side. You never know what it's going to become. But the people who say that, oh, well, if you're working for someone else, you're just throwing your life away, I just disagree with that. First off, not everyone wants to become a business. Business owner. So some people are their life would be more fulfilling, more happy working with someone else on their business.
Yeah.
So really at the end of the day, what is all this money stuff about? It's really trying to live, I hate to use the term, but you living your best life. So, I mean, if living your best life is working for someone else, then do that. The only reason why I say you want to have a backup plan is because you never know what happens to that job. You don't want to be under the foot of that job. So, yeah.
Definitely. No, I definitely agree with that. Everything just comes down to like life first. It's like, what are your goals, right? At the end of the day, it's always good to just kind of play this thought exercise. It's just imagine yourself at whatever. So if you say you want $1 million, imagine yourself with that $1 million now. What exactly are you going to do with it? Are you going to be chasing the next $1 million? Or are you going to be spending time with family, friends, and just enjoying life as it should be, right? So those are kind of like some of the things that I feel like people need to spend a little bit more time on. So
I agree 100%.
Definitely. It looks like we're running out of time here. Hey, it was really nice having you here, man.
No problem. It was nice talking to you. Yeah, definitely make that YouTube channel.
I already have one from, I feel like I have one from, oh, sorry, go for it.
I said, I'll be your first subscriber if you tell me about it first.
I have a YouTube channel from middle school. I learned how to code in middle school. And the way I used to learn is by teaching other people. So I had this YouTube channel that gathered like tens of thousands of views from middle school. So I may just revive that, change the name, hide the old videos, and just kind of put this on there, and then I'll let you know.
All right, sounds great.
Definitely. Thanks for coming on, man. I'm going to email you like all the links for the books we talked about and everything else. And those will also be in the show notes.
All right. Sounds great, man. Thank you for having me on.
Awesome. Have a good rest of the day, man.
It's nighttime here, so I'm going to have to go to bed soon or something.
Yeah. All right.
Hello. I hope you enjoyed that episode. Support the show by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts and leaving a review. You can also subscribe to my newsletter at Tolusnotes.com for timeless lessons for young investors. Have a good one.